Life in the Middle Ages is often portrayed as a time of knights in shining armor, of brave battles and valiant victories. However, there's another side to this era, a darker, more gritty reality that most people don't know about. What would life have been like if you were born and raised in a medieval city? Let's find out. You wake up before sunrise, or at least when the others in your family wake up. There's no point in sleeping in because the morning air is just as cold as the night. You're in a large house, shared with extended family members and other poorer families. There are barely any partitions between rooms, so everyone knows everyone's business. Even if you wanted privacy, it isn't possible in a home like this. While your mother is preparing breakfast, your older brother is already getting up on a stool to light the small fire in the hearth. Since there's no chimney, the only way to keep warm is to feed the fire and let the smoke drift out the door. Your sister is feeding the chickens and goats that live in the courtyard, sharing the same living space as you do. The animals add their own unique smell to the already pungent mix of stale waste and dirty bodies. After quickly eating some bread and cheese, it's time to go to work. You're old enough to take on odd jobs for extra money, which your family desperately needs. After all, life in a medieval city is hard, especially when you're poor. Your father works as a tanner, and he needs your help to dip hides in vats of lime and urine. The process of turning animal skins into leather is incredibly smelly, and it stains your clothes and burns your skin. Yet you have to do this. If you don't, your family won't have enough money to eat properly. In the middle of your workday, you hear the sound of a horn. It's a common occurrence, so you don't pay much attention to it. Only when the horn sounds repeatedly do people stop working and run to hide. From the distance, you see a group of soldiers approaching. Life under a medieval monarch is not easy, and while taxes are high, the Lord still needs someone to blame. Peasants and poor people are the easiest targets. When the soldiers come close enough, you recognize the Lord himself. He's riding on a magnificent horse, wearing expensive clothing and jewelry. He's happy, healthy, and well-fed. He takes everything he has for granted, unlike you, who eats his dinner, wondering if tomorrow he'll have enough to eat. The soldiers approach you and demand that you hand over whatever money you earned today. It's customary that the Lord can take a portion of anyone's wages whenever he wants. You hand over your money without arguing. It's better to give him what he wants than to anger the royal guards. As the sun begins to set, you return home. The sights and smells greet you again. Waste pours out of windows. Dogs and pigs fight over scraps of food in the streets. And the river seems to be filled with more filth than water. You take a moment to wash your face and hands in a bucket before going back to the room you share with your parents and siblings. Today was only one day in your life, but you already feel exhausted. Going to bed early is crucial since you'll have to wake up early again. But sleep is not easy to come by. The straw mattress you share with others in your family is damp from all the moisture inside the house. Also, there are plenty of rats scurrying around. Fleas and lice bite you throughout the night. So even if you wanted to sleep, you can't. Each morning you wake up hungry. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but you don't eat much of it, because the grain used to bake the bread was gnawed on by rats. The flour contains their droppings and insects. Milk is unboiled and often comes from sick cows. Everything you eat puts your life at risk. You might get fevers, dysentery, or even die. Dinner is no different. Meat is sometimes spoiled when it reaches your hands. Vegetables are grown in soil fertilized with human waste and water, from wells or rivers, is just as dangerous to drink as it is to bathe in. Typhoid, cholera, and dysentery are always waiting to infect you. If you visit the doctor, things get worse. Bleeding, mercury, arsenic, and heated irons are the norm. Never mind that they all kill patients. One wrong step, and you can lose a finger, an arm, or even your life. Surgeons reuse knives and don't wash them, meaning that infections spread quickly and easily. Even if you stay perfectly still, there's a chance that you won't survive a visit to the doctor. But there's no avoiding life in the medieval city. It's impossible to avoid contact with other people, and that means sooner or later you'll get sick. There's no escape from the dirt, grime, garbage, and pests either. Since there's little money, nobody cleans anything and the smell is atrocious. Between the waste pouring from windows, the various animals, and the piles of garbage, you breathe in poison every day. You cough so much that your ribs start aching, but no one cares. No one is going to help you. Medieval cities are dangerous places. Fistfights happen regularly in marketplaces, and when merchants compete with each other, someone ends up dead. The guards try to maintain order, but they're often bribed or threatened into doing nothing. Executions are public and painful. Criminals are hung, beaten, or tortured in front of crowds of spectators. If you witness this too often, you might go blind or deaf. Your only refuge is your religion. You pray every day, hoping that your God will bless you and protect you from evil. You attend Mass regularly and listen to priests tell you how sinful you are and how you should be grateful to God for your miserable existence. But the Church is also responsible for much misery. Priests and friars are considered holy men, so they don't have to work and instead beg for food and donations. The Church literally takes advantage of people's faith to steal from them. You give your money gladly, but it doesn't help you. Instead, it goes to fatten the pockets of church officials. Religious figures also use fear to control people. Sins are everywhere, and being punished for them is horrible. Medieval cities had many brothels, taverns, theaters, and other entertainment venues. If you're caught visiting them, religious figures threaten to send you straight to hell. The Church punishes women more harshly than men, and female sinners are treated brutally. Seasons change, and so does the misery. Summers are unbearable. Temperatures rise, the sun beats down on stinking garbage, and flies crawl around everywhere. They carry diseases that make people go blind or die. Rivers are dirty and full of germs. Rains are rare, so everyone drinks stagnant water that's been sitting out in the sun for weeks. Dysentery, typhoid, and cholera wait for you at every turn. Winters are freezing. Nights are long and cold. There's not enough wood to heat every home, so most people wrap themselves in rags and try to huddle together on one bed with their whole family. Many freeze to death or die of starvation. Some beggars are lucky if they find an abandoned building to spend the night in. The poverty rate is high, and competition for shelter is fierce. Famine kills more people than war, and you know this firsthand. You've seen how food prices rise, making the staples of diet unaffordable for the poor. You've heard the starving cry in the streets, and you know that they might be you next. Despite all these hardships, life still goes on. Shops are open, people trade, bells ring, and children play. Amidst all the misery, you know that you're alive. You're in the medieval city, and while you may not have much, you have life. The medieval city is often romanticized as a place of chivalry and magic. However, if you were actually to live there, you would find that it was a grim and unforgiving place. It was a melting pot of cultures, yes, but also of diseases, poverty, and crime. It was a place where life was cheap and death was everywhere. If you lived in a medieval city, every day would be a challenge, every meal a risk, and every breath a gamble. But somehow people not only survived, but thrived. They created art, they built wonders, and they dreamed of a better tomorrow. Because no matter how bad things get, life goes on.